Hello, good morning and welcome to News X. We're live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 125. Across all our social media handles, we are Joe News on TV. Coming up within the next 60 minutes, Speaker of Parliament to decide the fate of 4 sitting MPs within the next 24 hours. We have more reaction as the minority files for a motion to declare those seats vacant. We'll tell you why. We'll also hear from the Ghana Grains Forum, which is worried about dry spells and unstable weather patterns in the country. And later in the bulletin, Black Stars break hearts with a 2-0 defeat in Sudan. We'll explore what this means to our chances. My name is Faustina Safo. Please be my guest. Thanks for choosing us. We're your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Now, we start from Parliament, where the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Babin, would decide the fate of 4 sitting MPs within the next 24 hours. There have been mixed reactions to an action by the former minority leader, Haruna Iddrisu, to have the Speaker of Parliament declare some 4 seats vacant. Well, this follows a decision by the incumbent members of Parliament to contest as independent candidates after losing their party's primaries on Tuesday. Majority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin attempted to block the moves to unseat 3 of his colleagues and end his side's reign as majority in Parliament. Afenyo-Markin indicated that he has also filed an application for injunction and expects Parliament not to act until the matter is determined. Now, those are quotes of some of the key things he said. He says, quote, Majority Leader goes to Supreme Court over moves to declare seat of independent candidate vacant. Well, let's give you a wrap of what happened in this report, and we'll be back to do some analysis here on NewsTex.
From all that we heard in the media regarding declaration of vacancies and all, I think this morning I got a memo which was addressed to Mr. Speaker by the respected member for Tamale South. I got a copy, and he has sent a notice of petition to Mr. Speaker to declare some seat vacant, and he has listed Agona West, Suhum, Amenfi Central, and Fomena. So he relies on Order 99 and also anchors his application on Order 18, and he intends to move the House to consider this matter. But before then, I think I have also looked at the matter, the constitutional provision, and I hold the view that the members of my caucus who have filed to go independent for the next election have not written to me as the head of the caucus to say that they are no more part of the caucus. So as far as I'm concerned, the caucus remains intact.
Well, let's explore this further with Samuel Bing. He is Executive Director for Parliamentary Network Africa. Thank you for your time here on NewsTex. Well, this is coming at a time where we have just few more months to the general election. The question on the lips of many is that, how will this affect parliamentary proceedings? You've been around for a while. Now, the minority would become the majority. That's if the Speaker rules in favor of the minority request. How would you think this will affect proceedings?
Well, for a parliament that for almost 4 years has had real showdowns, so to say, you know, with the numbers, the number dynamics. Obviously, any further change in numbers at this dying moment of the tenure of the parliament can affect what happens in the parliament. You know, if things go down to the polls with elections almost around the corner. We know how politicians like to take advantage of every situation that they find themselves in, especially when elections are staring them in the face. So it has a way of affecting government business, but that is if it goes through. And for us at Parliamentary Network Africa, we hold the view that if there is any significant thing that can happen with this current situation, it will be an opportunity for the Speaker of Ghana's Parliament now to correct that error of a ruling that was delivered by Speaker Okwe some 4 years ago, because we held the view then and still maintain the view now that that ruling then was seriously in error. That precedent shouldn't have been set at all. And we look forward to how the opportunity to correct that error will be utilized this time around, as the Speaker Babin has asked for a few days to deliver a reasoned ruling.
Will this be the first time, if we go back in the annals of history, that the minority will assume the role of the majority?
Well, within the Fourth Republican dispensation, we have not had a situation where there has minority in Parliament. In fact, we've not had a situation where the numbers have even been this close, with just a one-person difference. So this will be a novelty if it happens. And we live to see how that plays out.
Now, we've been also engaging Professor Michael Quaye. He's of the opinion that it would not be legal for these seats to be declared vacant. We'll hear from him when he has been speaking to my colleague Elton Brobe in subsequent bulletins, just to get his perspective about things. But then this is clearly a game of numbers, and we're looking at the grounds on which the minority is putting this forth. You have been around for a while. Is this in breach of the standing orders of Parliament in any way?
I'm not too sure what former Speaker Okwe said to you, but he was the one who delivered the ruling 2020, a ruling I consider as very bizarre, and one that an opportunity presents itself to be corrected. But we must also know that there are two separate issues here. There is the issue of 3 of the MPs who belong to a party now and have filed their nominations to be independent candidates in the election. 2 on the NPP side, 1 on the NDC side. And that is very similar to the 2020 case of the Formina constituency. And we hold the view that Article 97(1)(g) does not mean that if you are a member of a current parliament and you file to be independent in the next parliament, you must lose your seat. So that is being consistent with our position of old. And that is why we say that the Speaker's ruling in the past was bizarre. However, there is a separate case also of an independently elected member of Parliament who has now decided to join a political party. And I think Article 97(1)(h) is very clear in that particular circumstance. So for me, it's just a matter of holding fidelity to the Constitution of Ghana. I don't think that is an issue of standing orders and how people would like to maneuver that to their favor. I think it's holding fidelity to the Constitution of Ghana. And like I said from the beginning, it presents a good opportunity for that ruling of 2020 by Speaker Okwe to be corrected by the current Parliament, so that we can have a better precedent going into the future.
Sami Obeng is Executive Director of Parliamentary Network Africa. Thank you for your time here on Newsdesk. Now, away from this, the Ghana Police Service says it has arrested Salifu Amankwa, parents of a young driver involved in a fatal accident that claimed 2 lives at East Legon on Saturday, October 12, 2024. Mr. and Mrs. Amankwa are currently in custody assisting with investigations. On your screens now is a statement from the Ghana Police Service, and it's coming up shortly, just giving you a wrap of some of the key things that has happened so far. Now, it states that the Ghana Police Service has today, 15th of October, arrested suspects Bishop Elisha Salifu Amankwa and Mona Amankwa, parents of the suspected driver involved in the fatal accident that claimed 2 lives at East Legon on Saturday, 12th of October. Investigations have so far established that on the 12th of October, suspect driver, who is Salifu Elrad Salifu, age 16, driving a Jaguar SUV vehicle with registration number GN780120, with one other occupant rammed into a 4x4 Acura vehicle, also with registration number GR254223, driven by Joseph Aka, with 4 other occupants at Mensawood Street at East Legon. Both cars caught fire and burned beyond recognition. The investigation further indicates that 3 of the 5 victims of the Acura vehicle during the accident were rescued, and the other 2, identified as Justine Agbenu and Mame, both 12 years of age, lost their lives. 2 of the rescued victims, who sustained minor injuries, were treated and discharged, while the 3rd is still on admission receiving medical attention. The suspect driver with other occupants in the Jaguar vehicle were also rescued and are currently on admission at the hospital. The parents of the 16-year-old suspect driver, Bishop Elisha Amarko and Mona Amarko, are currently in custody assisting with investigations. Meanwhile, a team from the Police Management Board, led by the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Akufo-Addo, on the 15th of October, visited the bereaved family to commiserate with them and also visited the injured at the hospital. The police would like to assure the public of a thorough investigation into the accident to bring closure to the affected families as they continue to remember them in their prayers in these difficult times. Well, let's speak to Simbiat Redu. He is Head of Corporate Affairs at the National Road Safety Authority, and he joins us live with more. The last time we heard from the National Road Safety, you served notice that you were also investigating this matter. So far, what have you found?
All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Like you said, we have taken notice of the numerous crashes that has been happening over the period. In about 4 days, we have counted more than 20 deaths, counting or resulting from more than 4 crashes. That is from the past 4 days, which we see to be very alarming. From our investigations and brief discussions or interactions with the police, we have noticed that most of these crashes, or almost all the crashes, are resulting from two key factors, which are: 1, irresponsible, careless, negligence, reckless driving on the part of drivers, and then not enough or adequate systems in place to ensure that the operationalization of commercial vehicles or vehicles in general are regulated enough. And so these are the 2 broad outcomes that are coming up from our investigations. And then I want to also put across that we haven't finished with our investigations. We are still in the process, and in due course, we would come out with our findings and we share our findings with the public.
I'm quite interested. The police has confirmed the age of the suspect. In your initial investigations, do you also confirm he's 16 years old?
Yes, we have also confirmed that the driver of the Jaguar, which was involved in the crash at East Legon last weekend, was a minor. And so just as the law states, minor or a driver who is not up to the age of 18 is not required to use the motor vehicle. And so, like you said, we have established the fact that the driver of the Jaguar was a minor.
This brings to fore a bigger issue, which is careless driving on our roads. As we approach the festive season as well as election 2024, what measures are you putting in place to ensure you sensitize the public to reduce crashes such as these?
All right. So election year are one of the hunting areas with tension high and uncertainties lurking around every corner. We envisage that a lot of crashes might happen, considering the fact that a lot of movement will take place, campaigns and other things, traveling, and also around Christmas or ending of the year, most visitors come into the country to spend Christmas with their families down here. So we are also envisaging that a lot of people will travel down or come to Ghana to spend the Christmas here. Aside that, we also envisage that students and other individuals will be traveling across the country to spend the Christmas at their various locations of their choices. And so we envisage that crashes will go up this year. And so right from the beginning of the year, we started putting in place things. We started engaging political parties. We developed the political code of practice to ensure that drivers, motorists, supporters, and individuals who will be playing active role, will be campaigning, will be on our streets in connection with the elections, are guided with this code to ensure that their travels, their in and outs are safe. So that is one of the things that we have put in place. Also, we are collaborating with our transport unions and other stakeholders to inspect vehicles at terminals to ensure that vehicles leaving our terminals and going to ply our routes are in good conditions. And so our inspectors and the road safety officers at the terminals are supposed to inspect these vehicles. Aside that, we are coming on the road space to educate the public and drivers to ensure that they are really complying with the road traffic regulations.
Thank you so much for your time here on Newsdesk. We'll get in touch with you in subsequent bulletins as we get a better understanding of the outcome of your investigations on this case. You're watching Newsdesk. We'll be back after this break. Please stay tuned. Thanks for staying with us here on Newsdesk. To other stories now, the Pan-African and Transdisciplinary Lens in the Margins project is integrating local insights and community-driven solutions to improve disaster readiness and climate adaptation in the White Volta Basin. Now, this initiative engages stakeholders and communities in 30 areas across the 4 regions of the northern part of the country, focusing on addressing the impact of floods and droughts on marginalized communities. Mahmoud Nuruddin reports.
Abdallah Saka from Zantani and Idrisu Abubakari Zakari from Wala in the northern region have experienced extreme weather conditions, with Abdallah facing devastating floods and Idrisu struggling with prolonged drought.
As we see in our area, there is a drought because many farmers, our main business is farming.
The only livelihood that we depend on is the farming. And during flooding, all our farm products will be washed away and the farmers and the community members will be suffering.
Abdallah describes the impact as great and unimaginable.
They also suffer to get to hospitals. And at this time, when it is flooding, the whole community will be suffering. No access road that will lead us to the markets where we can sell the remaining farm products that we have. During the flooding hour, the whole community, the whole electoral area will submerge in water, especially during the opening of Bagri Dam. The people there is in hell. I'm telling you, they are in hell. We are not part of Ghanaians.
Ariku Martin Akudugu is my name. 2016 National Best Farmer, first runner-up.
In September and October 2020, floods destroyed his 500 acres of maize and rice field in the Upper East region.
This is my farmland, a little over 500 acres of land that I cultivated maize and rice. The maize were 320 acres The rice was around 180. We also have mango plantation, as you can see. We lost everything through the floods.
Ariko Martin Akudugu was left devastated at home, wondering how to start all over again. The flood was caused by the Bagre Dam spillage in Burkina Faso and the heavy downpour experienced between September and October 2020.
In fact, the amount of money I invested in this was almost about 450,000 Ghana cedis. And what I was expecting to harvest at the end of the cropping season was around 3,600 bags of maize and 3,200 bags of rice. That would have been what I was expecting to harvest at the end of the season. The amount of money I would have at least as income would have been somewhere around 2.6 million Ghana cedis per the investment I made.
So this is the
3 PhD students from the Department of Meteorology and Climate Science at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Samuel Owusu Ansa, Joshua Asamoah, and Alfred Ewua are researching on floods, drought, and their impact on livelihoods on residents.
Actually, my research proposal is focused on flooding, and the focus would centers on the marginalized communities within the White Volta Basin. And we have seen that there have been a number of researches that have been carried out, and their focus would either come from the physical science or the social science. But this particular research project is trying to address the impact on the marginalized community, especially those who are very highly vulnerable.
I'm focusing on the assessment of drought impacts on marginalized communities within the White Volta Basin. So basically, we've seen lots of research on flood within the White Volta Basin, how the spillage of the Bagre Dam causes flood issues in the northern portions of Ghana. But most of the time, we leave out the impact of drought within this same area. So my project seeks to fill this gap by contributing to knowledge on drought within the White Volta Basin, where we assess and quantify drought intensity, severity, frequency, duration, and also identify some drivers of drought within the area.
Now this project is so important because having looked at the physical and social drivers that bring about the climate change, what is the impact or the effect on the people in the catchment area? We all know that most of the people in the catchment area are engaging in agricultural activities. And we know that when there is a flood or a drought in agriculture catchment area, most of their produce are lost. Now those people, they have only one mean of livelihood, that is mostly the agric or the farming.
Since most of the population within the Volta Basin relies on agriculture, extreme weather events like floods and droughts resulting in significant crop losses impacting their primary source of income. Samuel, Joshua, and Alfred's works seek to build resilience among these communities as they are highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate-related disasters and have limited livelihood options.
So we need to build a resilience for these people. We need to make sure we come out with adaptation strategy so that in the near future they can survive the climate extreme that is happening globally, and for that matter Ghana, and for that matter the White Basin as a catchment.
So we are aiming at trying to build their resistance to be able to thrive this changing climate within the White Volta Basin.
So a project that was done by WMO through funding from Adaptation Fund, which is called the Water Flood and Drought Management Project, is indicating that in the current climate we are getting about 20,000 to 50,000 animals which are affected by drought every year. And if you consider crop yield too, we are seeing about 5 to about 7% reduction in crop yield as a result of drought. But this information was gathered over the entire basin area, and the subdivisions that you get is for the regions. You are not able to tell that this community is affected this much, or this is how much flood or drought affects these particular areas within the community. So this research is trying to bring it down to the communities to assess drought impact for each community, and also assess the drought impact on livelihood and different gender groups within these communities. So we want to understand the differential impact of drought within the communities for the White Water Basin.
Why did we coin this acronym or the name of the project palm tree? I hope we all know what a palm tree is.
One of the leading researchers, Professor Thompson-Anno at the Department of Meteorology and Climate Science, leads the research using a multi-method approach to create risk narratives and improve climate modeling. The methods combine existing demographic and health surveys with new data from participatory analysis, mapping, focus group, and multi-level modeling.
We are talking about the people that are most vulnerable. So these are the people that we are targeting. And then looking at how they are impacted by flood and then drought, we will put certain adaptation strategies in place so that it will build their resilience.
He knows that current interventions for drought and flood-affected communities are often short-term and inadequate, providing temporary relief but failing to address the underlying issues which persist long after the initial support has ended.
Most of the time when there is flood or there is drought, some of the interventions that they receive are short-lived. Within a few months, few years, they are gone. And when it comes again, then it comes to the same issue. This time we want to build their capacity so that they can cope with it and then sustain it so that their livelihood will be better.
Professor Anno stresses the need for community cooperation, collaboration, and sharing of experience throughout the project to guarantee the development of effective solutions and interventions that foster resilience and benefit the communities themselves.
Our expectation from them is one, their cooperation. Their cooperation, and also to give us the ground truth. So we will go to them, go to households, and then ask some questions. All that we expect from them is to give us exactly what has happened or what they think is happening. So we want their utmost cooperation. After we have finished, we also want them to utilize whatever we will do for them to better their lives. Look at the compound effect. So flood, heat wave, droughts are devastating in Africa, and climate change may fuel or increase their impact in the future.
Reports by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Now to what many describe as sad and bad news. Ghana's hopes of being at the 2025 African Cup of Nations hit a snag following defeat to Sudan on Tuesday. The Black Stars fell to a 2-0 loss at the hands of the Falcons of Libya on March Day 4 of the qualifying series. Now, we'll give you some analysis on that shortly, but first, here are some highlights.
To the Sudanese. Quite tricky to cope with this artificial pitch, the AstroTurf here in Libya, and now Sudan come breaking again. There's men on this far side and goes for the right corner. Well, it seemed like a great save there from Atizigi. Once again, he's calling for the corner kick. Abubakar Mamoun cutting in and sending Jiku for a hot dog. And it was very much... Semenyo, out wide to Mensah. Mensah gives a decent-looking delivery. Oh, and the players just got in each other's way. Was cut out, and frustration for Ghana because they could be caught on the break here. Saif Thierry, he needs options, and he might just find them across the box. There's a chance for Sudan. Oh, dear. A brilliant chance for the hosts. Over the ball, or rather, sorry, Abuagla Abdallah, the opposite number, and that's just again in between the gap of the defense and the goalkeeper. Away side for the afternoon, but now Sudan can get through here. It has to be well defended, may not be though. Still an opportunity, and it's surely going to be a goal for Sudan. Oh wow, yes it is. It's nothing less than they deserve after the match that they've seen. Absolute trauma for Ghana, but sensational. Bursting through Saif Thierry. No communication. Lawrence Atizigi made the save. It came off the post. Gideon Mensah just looked haplessly. And coming again, here goes Sudan. Maybe a chance for a second. Oh, it is. Abdelrahman. It's absolutely crazy. The defense is completely destroyed because it is just glorious. Look at that ball from the left back position. He's completely outdone Mohamed Salisu there as Mohamed.
Ghana losing to Sudan in Libya. Sad. I feel like I'm in a toxic relationship with the Black Stars because each time they break my heart and I am still compelled to support them. How is this even possible that we are losing to Sudan? Muftal, tell me more about this game. I can't believe it.
You're not the only person.
Watch the match.
You're not the only person in that relationship. We are all in there. The Black Stars is a national team that many Ghanaians will say that, no, at this point, we are fed up, but we continue to follow them. We continue to ask questions. Where are they playing? Which channel is showing the game and all that? Because we have interest. The interest is that when they win, it gives you a certain level of emotional satisfaction. When they win, you forget about some of your problems momentarily. So it's a reason why...
In fact, it's serious.
You wanted to cry?
I almost cried. I think Sudan, of all the teams.
No. Okay, so Sudan actually, they are not a team anyone can underrate at this point. You have to go back to about 5-6 years ago, when Sudan was a team Ghana could walk over. I remember under Kwesi Appiah when Ghana won there and won. I remember under CK Akuno when Ghana won there, we lost. So clearly, it's not anything new for many people who follow the national team keenly. And if you have followed Sudan of late, since Kwesi Appiah took over, he has played 11 matches. He has won 8 of those matches. He's drawn 2 and lost 2. So clearly, it tells you that this is a man who has a perfect picture about what he's doing with this Sudanese national team. So many people will tell you that Ghana actually, we were not, or this was always coming. You'd have to go back to last year when Ghana qualified for the AFCON in Cote d'Ivoire. We left it late. We needed a last-minute winner from Iñaki Williams to be able to qualify for the AFCON. The failure of the Black Stars has been quite close, and I'm a bit surprised that the leadership of the Ghana FA never saw it coming. I'm a bit surprised because over the years, they've made technical changes and the results are not changing. And if you have made so many technical changes and results are not changing, you should know that there's probably a problem somewhere that you need to find a solution to. And unfortunately, they've not been able to find that solution. And it is why we're here. First time in about 20 or 21 years, Ghana is not qualifying to participate in an AFCON.
And we'll get into that shortly, but let's look at our formation yesterday and the style of play.
Tactical Faustina.
Should we have done anything better?
I would be lying if I say the coach got anything wrong. I'd be lying. As a layman, I'm looking at a team that gave one of the best performances in the last 3-4 years against Sudan last Thursday.
You think?
And Ghana was just unlucky not to have secured a win against Sudan at the Accra Sports Stadium. So when the coach went out there to set up, he set up his team in a way that he was going to have players run into the channels and create opportunities for goals to come. The reason why he dropped Jordan Ayew from where I sit was because when you have Iñaki Williams up front, he's able to draw the oppositions wide and create spaces for other people to run through. Unfortunately, we're not able to take advantage of that. And I think I spoke to George Freya this morning on the AM show, and he was talking about how poor planning contributed to this defeat. If you're going out there to play an AFCON qualifier against a country that proud to play in Ghana, had won 7 of their 10 matches, you need to have a very proper planning. We all knew we were going to play the game on an AstroTurf. Why was the team training on natural grass pitches? That's one area I think that we got it completely wrong. The management committee of the Black Stars, the technical team, they all needed to come together and go like, okay, we need an AstroTurf to be able to train. So you could have flown the team out immediately after the game against Sudan. Make sure you had your recovery training sessions on AstroTurf, 2 training sessions on AstroTurf before you get in here and play the game. Unfortunately, we didn't do that. And I think it is the reason why we are here. The chances were not even coming. They were quite limited.
So let's talk about even with how we played.
Yes.
Just looking through the match.
Yes.
The players, did they pull their weight? Because now we're hearing calls for the coach should leave, he should
no.
Is it always the fault of the coach or the players failed to deliver on the pitch?
Just a couple of minutes ago, I was thinking about how we've made changes to the technical team. Since 2019, right? Kwesi Appiah, C.K. Akono, Milovan Rajvac, Akufo-Addo, Chris Hughton, Otuade again. 6 coaches. Have we had different results under these coaches? No. So I do not think it is just a technical problem. It goes beyond technical problem. So I believe that there's a certain psychological problem that we are not feeling. Over the years, the team has struggled to pick points. Why do we continue to have a team that is not picking points and there's no one within the team to provide the psychological needs for them to be able to rise to the occasion? The more you lose confidence in yourself. The more you are afraid of making mistakes, right? And as you and I speak, I personally believe that this current crop of players, why do they go out there? Mohamed Kudus at West Ham, incredible. Antoine Semenyo, incredible. Iñaki Williams at Atletico Bilbao, great. Salisu, a monster for Monaco. Ali Disedu, one of the best players in Clermont. Then all of a sudden, they come into the Black Stars, they put on the jersey, and they look completely out of sort.
Does it have something to do with spiritual backing as a country? Because we don't understand what is going on.
So I'm not going to put names on record. I'm going to say certain things. I had a conversation with some people, former coaches, former players, and all of them have said, it's about time we begin to apologize to people we have hurt in the last 4 or 5 years. One of them said, if he's given an opportunity to be part of the team, they are going to go out there and apologize to people the leadership of the Football Association have hurt. And this one, I'm going to say it. In 2019, after the GFA elections, the president of the Ghana Football Association, Keto Kriku, was told that the elections are over. Bring everyone under one umbrella to support your vision, support your cause for Ghana football. During the campaign period, you might have said things, you might have stepped on toes. So you need to iron out the differences and ensure that we go all out there and succeed as a unit. He said he was going to go to South Africa, Cape Coast, and play the South Africa game and come back. Today, that hasn't happened. The people that you allegedly got yourself to go through certain processes to get them disqualified, do you genuinely think they would want you to succeed? The people that claim, since you came into office, you've gotten their clubs to be relegated or you have collapsed their businesses and all that. When people are suffering, they have all manner of reasons for it.
And that's why you think
would those people genuinely
apologize?
Want you to succeed?
But let's wrap up the conversation. Just 1 minute. What's our fate now? We're not going to the AFCONs?
You watch it on TV. Because, in fact, I was on the phone with Kwesi Appiah this morning. This is what I was saying.
Okay.
And Kwesi was telling me that, Mufsa, do you genuinely think that Sudan will not get 1 point to qualify for the AFCON? Because they need just 1 point to qualify.
We need to pray hard.
Which prayers? Your prayers will let them lose the 2 matches and you will win the 2 matches, madam.
Well, it's time now for business. We'll be right back.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Minerals Income and Investment Fund is collaborating with the private sector to develop the salt value chain for the country to earn more from the resource. Now, according to Chief Executive for MIF, Nanaya Alquanting, the fund is aiming at creating an ultra-modern refinery and establishing a salt export jetty in Adan in the Greater Accra region to accelerate the growth of the salt value chain. He revealed this to journalists at a stakeholders conference organized by MIF. Here's more.
The Minerals Income and Investment Fund, MEF, is currently the second majority shareholder in the Electrochem Salt project in the Greater Accra region. As part of moves to enhance the country's earnings on the mining industry, the fund is investing in all major mining firms. Speaking at the stakeholders conference in Accra, Chief Executive for MEF, Edward Nanaya Okranton, disclosed that Ghana will become the mining hub for salt, hence the move to establish an ultra-modern refinery and an export jetty for the commodity.
We are looking at how we are looking at the possibility of investing in the refinery that they've already started. We are looking at the possibility of supporting them with a jetty that will allow export by sea. And then we're also making sure that in terms of corporate governance, they are also listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange next year. So these are things that we are working on. The Songo, we are passionate about Songo because in terms of environmental risk is low. At the end of the day, it's also employing more people. Songo could be employing about 24,000 people in the next 7 years, depending on how the value delivery process or setup is actually actualized. If you look at returns, Songo could be giving Ghana about $1 billion in the next, maybe within the next 4 years, 5 years.
Chief Executive for McDan Group, owners of the salt mining project, Daniel Macaulay, has assured that the country is capable of producing for the local market and more to be exported.
We intend doing close to 8 million metric tons, so we hope to be able to fill all the gaps and also export more than we need. I feel the government has to surely step in to stop the inferior salt being imported.
The theme for the conference was Minerals Value Addition and Value Chain Development Essential Tools for Ghana's Development.
Now, more mobility investors are seeking easier ways to move to advanced countries to diversify their investment portfolio. The move affords investors the opportunity to seek easy visa, citizenship, and international financial services. Here's more.
Research has shown that more mobility investors are working to expand their business interest beyond one country. Residence by investment programs, also known as Golden Visa programs, provide high net worth individuals with the option to relocate and the right to live, work, study, and receive healthcare in their new countries of residence. Being able to change residence to a suitable country or have multiple residences is an increasingly important aspect of international planning for private clients. Speaking to Joy Business at the Investment Migration West Africa Roadshow 2024, the consultant for Henley and Partners in Ghana, Grace Arthur, said more investors are using the program to expand their businesses.
If you look at the world, things are changing. the world's wealth is moving, and those who hold the wealth is moving along. And they seek global mobility. They want to be able to travel without seeking visas. If you take the Ghana passport, it's quite limiting, but it is not our fault. So if the businessman can afford, and they have a need for, and they have the lifestyle, and they want to build that legacy that gives all the benefits to their family members, why not?
Legal consultant for range development and a citizen of Grenada, Siobhan Lloyd recounted how President Akufo-Addo's visit to the Caribbean country has boosted investment drive between Ghana and Grenada.
This year, Grenada celebrated its 50th anniversary of independence, and your president was the guest of honor. So he led a high-level delegation to Grenada. During that visit, himself and Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell entered into a number of memorandum of understanding based on culture, trade, and education. And they also signed a visa-free waiver, so Ghanaians could visit Grenada visa-free, and the opposite. So there are existing diplomatic relations.
On that spot, the Executive Vice President of MERCAN, D. Kadiri, highlighted how European countries, particularly Portugal and Europe, have become mobility investment destinations for many Africans.
One of the main key benefits for investors, it gives them the ability to live, work, study in Portugal. But one also of the main key benefit is that the physical requirement is only 7 days per year for a period of 5 years for you to be able to apply to citizenship. So the timeline to acquire a citizenship in the European Union is in fact the quickest path to citizenship in all of the European Union.
And that's it. Back to you, Faustina.
Thank you, Dara, for bringing us business. And that's how we wrap up the show. For more news, please log on to myjournline.com. My name is Faustina Safu. Good morning.